Here's some big breaking news coming in from Mumbai. MP Navneet Rana, BJP MP Navneet Rana and her husband MLA Ravi Rana, both of them have been arrested by the Mumbai Police. Section 153A of the IPC has been applied against the Ranas. In fact, Ravi Rana will be produced before court tomorrow. Both his wife and him, Ravi Rana and Navneet Rana, both of them will be brought to the court tomorrow. They will be produced before court, local court in Mumbai tomorrow on this. But for now, they're arrested. It's huge development coming in. BJP leaders who've been condemning Uddhav Thackeray government for not allowing Hanuman Chalisa to be chanted outside temples on loudspeakers, just like the way Azan is allowed on loudspeakers. Why can't Hanuman Chalisa also be recited on loudspeakers in Mumbai? This was a question that the BJP leaders have been asking, and in fact threatened to protest on the same lines in front of Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray's residence, in front of Matoshree. This was a decision that the Ranas had taken. They led the BJP delegation and the workers, in fact, almost declaring that a protest will be carried out right in front of Matoshree today. This, remember, has been leading on for the last week. We've seen protests intensifying over Hanuman Chalisa not being allowed on loudspeakers, just like the way Azan is allowed on loudspeakers in Mumbai. Now the BJP taking this cause, championing this cause almost, condemning the Uddhav Thackeray government of appeasement politics, while not allowing for Hanuman Chalisa, just like the way they allow Azan on loudspeakers. Now both these leaders have been arrested. All right, let me cut across to Navneet Rana and Ravi Rana. While they were arrested, just that moment, they lashed out at the Mumbai police for arresting them without warrants. Here's a listen.
त्यांच्यावर कारवाई होत नाही. अमरावतीचे घरापर्यंत जे हल्ला करतात त्यांच्यावर कारवाई होत नाही. आम्हाला म्हणतात की तुम्हाला न्याय लागेल आणि तुम्हाला घ्यावं लागेल. हे कोणता नियम आहे? आणि वॉरंट दिल्याशिवाय आम्ही येणार नाही. काय वॉरंट दिल्याशिवाय हाती लावायचा? वॉरंट आला, वॉरंट आल्यानंतर वॉरंट आल्यानंतर मी कॉम्प्लेंट केलाय. तुम्ही येऊ नका. तुम्ही महिला तुमची रिस्पेक्ट करते, तुमचा मान सन्मान करते. येऊ नका. आम्ही कॉम्प्लेंट केला कालपासून. काम करा. वॉरंट दाखवा आणि आम्ही लोकप्रतिनिधी आहे. आवाज खाली करा. आवाज खाली करा. आवाज खाली करा. मी सांगून राहिली. आवाज खाली. आमच्या घरात येऊ शकत नाही. आम्ही लोकप्रतिनिधी बांधला पाहिजे. चला बाहेर.
या महाराष्ट्रामध्ये आम्हाला
चला बाहेर.
या महाराष्ट्रामध्ये आम्हाला अशा पद्धतीने घरामध्ये येऊन आम्हाला धमकवते पोलीस. या ठिकाणी आम्हाला अरेस्ट करायचं आहे. वॉरंट नाही आहे. आणि जे लोकांनी 500-600 लोकांनी हमला केला आमच्यावर, त्यांच्यावर गुन्हा दाखल होत नाही. पण मुख्यमंत्र्यांनी आमच्यावर गुन्हा दाखल होते. हे महाराष्ट्रामध्ये चालू आहे. खासदार आमदारांना दाबण्याचा प्रयत्न चालू आहे. या ठिकाणी मी महाराष्ट्रातल्या सगळ्या जनतेला सांगतो की ही स्थिती महाराष्ट्राच्या मुख्यमंत्र्यांनी आणली आहे की आम्हाला आमच्या घरामध्ये येऊन आम्हाला सांगतात गुन्हा दाखल झाला, आमच्यावर गुन्हा दाखल करून आम्हाला जबरदस्ती न्यायचं काम करत आहे. हा पूर्ण महाराष्ट्र पाहत आहे. जर आम्ही या ठिकाणी हनुमान चालीसा वाचली पाहिजे, यासाठी आम्ही विनंती केली. आमच्यावर गुन्हा दाखल केला आणि 500 लोकांनी आमच्यावर हमला केला. त्या ठिकाणी संजय राऊत म्हणते आमच्या गौऱ्या मशानामध्ये गेलेले, आम्हाला 20 फूट गड्ड्यामध्ये टाकू. संजय राऊत गुन्हा दाखल झाला पाहिजे, मुख्यमंत्र्यांवर गुन्हा दाखल झाला पाहिजे आणि अनिल परबवरही गुन्हा दाखल झाला पाहिजे. तेव्हा आम्हाला मान्य आहे. या ठिकाणी जबरदस्ती पोलीस करत असाल आणि सरकारच्या सांगण्यानुसार मुख्यमंत्र्यांच्या दबावामध्ये जर आमच्यासारख्या लोकप्रतिनिधीला या ठिकाणी आमचा अन्याय होत असेल तर संपूर्ण महाराष्ट्र पाहत आहे. आम्ही जेलामध्ये गेलो तर जमान्यात सुद्धा घेणार नाही. या अन्याय सुद्धा लढत राहू. जर आम्हाला बेगुन्हा लोकांना फसवत असेल तर या
I'm going to quickly cut across to Dev Amish, who's our reporter joining us right from on ground. Dev, we're seeing the Ranas who've been arrested, and this is absolutely shocking to say the least, because we know that a dozen of police complaints are filed on a regular basis at police stations. But here, the Mumbai police have taken special interest, stormed into the Ranas' residence without a warrant, have arrested the Ranas, brought them to the Khar Road police station, and now they've been arrested. Section 153 have been slapped on them. One could really call this high-handedness.
There's still being questioned inside at the moment, and all the details and every nitty-gritty will be discussed. However, there have been cross complaints and counter complaints with both of them alleging against the members of the Shiv Sena of instigating them, especially Sanjay Raut, who had sent out an offensive, not an offensive tweet exactly, but something to try and rile them up, is what the Rana couple have been saying. And they're currently here at the Khar Police station. Of course, they have also asked for certain sections to be added. We don't know yet if their FIR has also been taken, but they also wanted against the Shiv Sainik sections such as 120B, which is criminal conspiracy, and section 307, which is attempt to murder, to be added. They also added the fact that there was an imminent risk and threat to their life. Of course, with the repeated amount of threats that were being issued against them, and also such harsh words and very strong and derogatory language being used against the couple, especially Ravi Rana, who is the MLA hailing from Amravati. Words like eunuch, pimp, impotent have been used against them since morning. Also, the police have said that they will need to probe the matter thoroughly, and without really coming to any conclusion very quickly, they will have to, try and understand in terms of what was exactly said and build a piece by piece timeline to try and ensure that they are able to gauge what the exact story is without really wrongly detaining or arresting someone. But all we know for now is that Navneet Rana and her husband Ravi Rana have been arrested, and also sections of the Bombay Police Act have been added. Sections 34, 153A, 135 have been added as per the Indian Penal Code, and the relevant sections under the Bombay Police Act have been added to the FIR is something that we know as for now. Of course, we don't know for how long will this interrogation go on. Like I mentioned, earlier, that the police are also equally agitated, because it could have been a potential disruption of the law and order situation in the city. But thankfully, the Mumbai police did a really fine job in containing them, ensuring that that these two groups don't clash. Therefore, Miss Rana had not stepped out of her house the entire day, because she and her husband also knew there were more than 1,000 Sainiks who had gathered. In fact, those who were at Matoshree also came to Khar later under the residence of Miss Rana at Lavi building on the 14th floor in Khar. Of course, later the police also decided that enough is enough, and we had more than enough of these two people. Hence, let's just take them to the police station, where a proper detailed investigation and questioning can be carried out. Hence, they have been brought here, and of course, it is expected to continue for another hour at least, is what we know from our sources. And like I had mentioned earlier as well, the couple were set or due to fly out today evening, from the Bombay airport to Nagpur airport, and from Nagpur airport they were supposed to go by road to Amravati. These are the details that we have for now.
Dave, stay with us. I'm going to quickly cut across to a Supreme Court lawyer joining us for a little perspective on the way this arrest has been carried out on the BJP MP Navneet Rana and her husband MLA Ravi Rana. KV Dhananjay joining us for more on that. Mr. Dhananjay, we see that no warrant has been issued. We saw the police literally storming to the house of the Ranas, arresting them based on a complaint filed by a Shiv Sena worker saying that the Ranas are hurting religious sentiments. They've been taken into the Khar Road police station and arrested. Section 153 has been slapped on them. Would you call this police high-handedness?
Obviously, this is police high-handedness, and this is how the criminal law should not be invoked. When these people want to chant Hanuman Chalisa, you should treat that as a political protest. You're not going to slap an FIR, and you're not going to bring the police into this. And the kind of comments that there was attempt to murder or criminal conspiracy, this will bring the whole criminal law system into ridicule, because if people can't simply carry out a political protest without a threat of arrest in this manner, then I think the democratic tradition and the democratic atmosphere would be vitiated. I think what the Bombay police has done is obviously very high-handed, and it ought not to have done it in this manner. It's almost as if the Shiv Sena is running the police. And the police force is meant to be independent, and the police force would have no credibility if not for their independence. And this is not what an independent police force would do. I think the police commissioner of Bombay has a lot to answer. This is not how you would deal with political protesters. There is no doubt the BJP is being very partisan here. But to the extent they want to point out how loudspeakers, that call for azan are in fact disrupting public peace, they make a limited point, and it's important for the public to engage in that, and it's equally important for the political establishment to engage in that. It's a different thing that there are more temples than mosques, and there are loudspeakers over most of the temples, and statistically temples end up contributing more to noise pollution than mosques. But nevertheless, what the BJP politicians here wanted to do should be treated as a political protest. The police had no business to draw an FIR in the first place, and arresting them in the manner that they have done, I think, is very high-handed. And these are matters that require judicial intervention.
Here is Section 153 has been slapped on them of trying to hurt religious sentiments. We see that in police stations on a regular basis, several police complaints and FIRs are filed. But here we see the Mumbai police taking special interest on the Ranas. From what we saw, the sequence from the start of the day to the end, the Ranas have been constantly issuing warnings to Uddhav Thackeray and his government, saying that we're going to come outside your house and sit outside your house in dharna. We will protest right outside your house for not allowing us to chant Hanuman Chalisa on loudspeakers, like the way you allow mosques to have azan on loudspeakers. You're not allowing us. This is appeasement politics. We will protest outside your house. Political parties, do they have the right to protest outside the Chief Minister's home? And does the Chief Minister have the right to use the police machinery to stop opposition parties from carrying out a legal protest?
Well, there are laws against protest. There are laws against unlawful assembly. But in democratic countries, we find that these laws very often are relaxed to deal with political protesters. You've seen what happened with the Black Lives Matter. They went out and then protested outside the White House. And in fact, the mayor of Washington, D.C., painted the road leading up to the White House with the slogan Black Lives Matter. And this is what a democratic country would permit. So it does not matter what the law in the text would say. What the people have done, what the BJP politicians have done in this case, you should treat that as a political protest. And when they talk or when they address a chief minister, it's obvious that they have not respected their chief minister. But then these are politicians, and the chief minister ought not to behave in the manner that he's behaving. It's not as if the police have done this without active support from the CM's office. It's entirely possible that the CM's office is the one that's calling the shots, and the police is only a nominal force here. What they have done in this case to arrest these people will only flare up communal tensions. It's rather the other way around. And how does BJP allow the police to draw an inference that they are trying to incite religious tension? How is it even possible? And this is what, rather the police action is more likely to incite communal tension, because now it's very likely that a lot of Hindus might feel like, oh God, the political establishment is favoring loudspeakers over mosques. And that is why they've done this, because this political protest was to oppose that. Notwithstanding that the political protest here itself is highly communal, there's no doubt about it. But you don't reduce this action to a FIR. And this is a ridiculous thing. Using the police in this manner is very draconian, and the police was never meant to do any of these things. The police was never meant to, things cut out or cut down or throttle
we're looking, and
dissent.
like you rightly said, of course, this is going to flare up, and we're looking at Devendra Fadnavis, who's the former Chief Minister of Maharashtra, heading the BJP in the state, has now condemned this arrest, saying that the state police, in fact, he slammed the state police for arresting the Ranas, calling this unconstitutional. Fadnavis, they're saying democracy is over in Maharashtra. One could have clearly expected this. This is clearly police high-handedness. Without a warrant, can an arrest take place? Mr. Dhananjay, this is exactly what the Ranas have been accusing the police of doing, that they were brought into the Khar Road police station almost by force without a warrant in hand. And then right after they arrived at the police station, they were arrested. They will be produced before court tomorrow. So this is something that the Ranas have been protesting ever since they arrived at the police station, saying that this is unfair, this is unconstitutional, there is no warrant, and this is police high-handedness, calling this revenge by Uddhav Thackeray.
Well, first of all, I think the BJP political party in Maharashtra, I don't think they really have a high moral ground, or for that matter, Mr. Fadnavis himself, I don't think they have any political credibility here. They've done the same thing while they were in power, and they see that this party, Shiv Sena, is returning it in kind. But fact of the matter is, the moment the police would draw an FIR, they would be empowered to arrest. There's no concept of a warrant to arrest someone after you've drawn an FIR. So in this case, warrant was not necessary. It is not so much that they did not obtain a warrant. It is that they had no business to file an FIR in the first place, because 153A obviously would not apply to the facts of this case. I think that must be the opposition, or rather that must be the objection that one must take to the actions of the Mumbai police. It's not so much like they didn't have a warrant. Why would anyone want a warrant to arrest a person after an FIR is drawn? So I think the way to look at it is this.
But I'd like you to stay with us. I'm going to quickly cut across to Amish, who's joining us right outside the Khar Road police station. And we know that it's not just section 153 that's been imposed. There are several other sections that the police have drawn out against the Ranas. Amish, if you're joining us, it's not just section 143, hurting religious sentiments, a few more allegations and sections that have been slapped on the Ranas while they arrested them. Give us some clarity on what exactly does the FIR say?
We're waiting for the cops to release the copy of the FIR. At the moment, one of our sources tell us that the cops are still probing in terms of what's the relevant sections to be added. Hence, before they circulate it with the press or they share it with anyone outside, they want to be completely sure. Hence, the interrogation is taking a bit more longer than expected and anticipated. But like I had mentioned previously as well, that the Ranas are saying that there was a threat to their life. And with those kind of threats they had given, they are also convincing the police to jot down sections in their copy of the FIR to take against the Shiv Sena members, about clearly mentioning sections such as 307, which is attempt to murder, and section 120B of the Indian Penal Code. These two are the most stringent and the most prominent ones. We don't know yet whether the cops have straight away added that or are going to probe this matter further. However, from a political point of view, this matter is only getting dirtier and murkier than expected. It has become really ugly, with punches and jabs being thrown at each other. Of course, this is nothing. This has been reduced to an absolute mug fight. What started off as a communal issue, or what was being tried to portray as a religious issue, has now seemed to have taken a different turn. Of course, there is dirty politics, like I mentioned, involved in this. If you can kindly allow me to shed some light on the loose translation of Devendra Fadnavis's tweet. I'm going to quickly point that out to you, Nabila. He says, the events in Maharashtra are disturbing. The attack on BJP's poll coal chariot, the accused have not been arrested. Attack on Mohit Bhartiya, not a simple case has been filed. The language to bury a woman in MP, 20 feet, not even cognizance have been taken of that issue. If Rana couple comes to read Hanuman Chalisa, then it's a direct arrest. Does the state government have so much of ego, so much of hatred, and how much of power arrogant is it? The government will engage in violence. That's all your manliness. You may behave the way you want when you are in power, but the people are watching. And also asking, is the democracy over? This is what Devendra Fadnavis, the former Chief Minister of Maharashtra and the leader of opposition, tweeted a few minutes ago. Also, we have realized and come across a tweet by Kirit Somaiya, senior BJP leader, who is saying, who are those singing the praises of democracy, and why are they conveniently silent today? Strongly condemn the Ravan Raj in Maharashtra.
We understand that opposition leaders are obviously going to feast on this. Amish, you know, what we know that the opposition leaders are clearly going to feast on this, and it's quite evident that this is clear high-handedness by the Mumbai police. In fact, an FIR has also not been released. They've not released the FIR to those who are asking, which should have been done by now. If at all the police was so transparent, they should have let out the copy of the FIR with the relevant sections. But clearly the police holding it very carefully, because this could explode. This could really backfire against the police department, because they've arrested a member of elected representatives, both from the parliament as well as the legislative assembly. Both of them have been arrested from their home over a complaint filed by Shiv Sena workers. Now, there needs to be some kind of justification to come in from the police department on how exactly were the Ranas trying to disturb communal harmony and hurt religious sentiments. In fact, they're going to be produced before court tomorrow. This is a clear case of high-handedness as per the opposition party. I'm going to cut across to those reactions of Navneet Rana as well as her husband Ravi Rana soon when they were arrested at the police station. Very furious and frustrated. They slammed the Maharashtra government for using the police as a puppet. Let's take a listen.
हल्ला करत आहे त्यांच्यावर कारवाई होत नाही. अमरावतीचे घरापर्यंत जे हल्ला करताय त्यांच्यावर कारवाई होत नाही. आम्हाला म्हणतात की तुम्हाला न्याय लागेल आणि तुम्हाला घ्यावं लागेल. हे कोणता नियम आहे? आणि वॉरंट दिल्याशिवाय आम्ही येणार नाही. काय वॉरंट दिल्याशिवाय हाती लावायचा वॉरंट आल्यानंतर वॉरंट आल्यानंतर मी कॉन्फिडन्स केलाय. तुम्ही येऊ नका. तुम्ही महिला तुमची रिस्पेक्ट करते, तुमचा मान सन्मान करते. येऊ नका. आम्ही कॉन्फिडन्स केला कालपासून. काम करा. वॉरंट दाखवा आणि आम्ही लोकप्रतिनिधी आहे. आवाज खाली करा. आवाज खाली करा. आवाज खाली करा. मी सांगून राहिले. आवाज खाली. आमच्या घरात येऊ शकत नाही. आम्ही लोकप्रतिनिधी बांधला पाहिजे. चला बाहेर.
या महाराष्ट्रामध्ये आम्हाला
चला बाहेर.
या महाराष्ट्रामध्ये आम्हाला अशा पद्धतीने घरामध्ये येऊन आम्हाला धमकवते पोलीस. या ठिकाणी आम्हाला अरेस्ट करायचं आहे. वॉरंट नाही आहे. आणि जे लोकांनी 500-600 लोकांनी हमला केला आमच्यावर त्यांच्यावर गुन्हे दाखल होत नाही. पण मुख्यमंत्र्यांनी आमच्यावर गुन्हे दाखल होते. हे महाराष्ट्रामध्ये चालू आहे. खासदार आमदारांना दाबण्याचा प्रयत्न चालू आहे. या ठिकाणी मी महाराष्ट्राच्या सगळ्या जनतेला सांगतो की ही स्थिती महाराष्ट्राच्या मुख्यमंत्र्यांनी आणली आहे की आम्हाला आमच्या घरामध्ये येऊन आम्हाला सांगतात गुन्हा दाखल झाला. आमच्यावर गुन्हा दाखल करून आम्हाला जबरदस्ती न्यायचं काम करत आहे. हा पूर्ण महाराष्ट्र पाहत आहे. जर आम्ही या ठिकाणी हनुमान चालीसा वाचली पाहिजे यासाठी आम्ही विनंती केली. आमच्यावर गुन्हा दाखल केला आणि 500 लोकांनी आमच्यावर हमला केला. त्या ठिकाणी संजय राऊत मध्ये आमच्या गौऱ्या मशानामध्ये गेलेले आम्हाला 20 फूट गड्ड्यामध्ये टाकू. संजय राऊत गुन्हा दाखल झाला पाहिजे. मुख्यमंत्र्यावर गुन्हा दाखल झाला पाहिजे आणि अनिल परबवरही गुन्हा दाखल झाला पाहिजे. तेव्हा आम्हाला मान्य आहे. या ठिकाणी जबरदस्ती पोलीस करत असाल आणि सरकारच्या सांगण्यानुसार मुख्यमंत्र्याच्या दबावामध्ये जर आमच्यासारख्या लोकप्रतिनिधीला या ठिकाणी आमचा अन्याय होत असेल तर संपूर्ण महाराष्ट्र पाहत आहे. आम्ही जेलामध्ये गेलो तर जमानत सुद्धा घेणार नाही. या अन्याय सुद्धा लढत राहू. जर आम्हाला बेगुन्हा लोकांना फसवत असेल तर या
All right, that's Ravi Rana, who's outrightly blaming the Maharashtra government, Uddhav Thackeray, of trying to take revenge only because they wanted to chant Hanuman Chalisa. This is the Ranas who are right inside the police station. Even as we speak, they're currently at the Khar Road police station in Mumbai. They've been arrested by the Mumbai police and they claim they don't have a warrant. The Ranas say the police never had a warrant. In fact, we see them how they're in fact hitting out and firing at the Mumbai police there while inside the police station, asking them to lower their voice. You see Navneet Rana there almost exploding on the Mumbai police for arresting them, saying that they don't have a warrant, and then she goes on to ask them to lower their voice while speaking to her. She now of course is currently looking for bail. She's seeking bail. Her lawyers are currently present at the police station. We have KV Dhananjay, the Supreme Court advocate, also joining us on that. Mr. Dhananjay, the Ranas there seem very agitated and upset. They're seeking bail, but it appears that that's going to be a process. What's the likelihood of bail for them at this moment?
Well, when the offense is bailable, that would mean that the police can themselves offer bail. But because the police are, in fact, they seem to be highly politicized here and they seem to be carrying out the dictates of the Shiv Sena party, they're obviously going to refuse bail. And for them to refuse bail, it's in their best interest to add some other provision, perhaps, more stringent provision, maybe attempt to murder and things like that, because an FIR is not always a complete document when it is drawn. You can always add to it based on further information that you receive. So I think police granting bail is practically ruled out. But nevertheless, Yes, it's possible that the lawyers for the persons who've been arrested, they could move the court. Perhaps they could move the magistrate's court sometime later tonight, and they could ask for bail. But the chance of they coming out on bail looks quite unlikely.
Mr. Dhananjay, are you trying to indicate that this could be a long haul for them for tonight? They possibly could be staying in the police station and that they might not get bail at the moment.
That's because when the police make up their mind to arrest you, and then or to charge you with something like this and perhaps add more, then it's no matter how resourceful you are, no matter whether you're a member of the parliament, you may end up in jail for the whole night.
Right.
So I think it's just a determination by the police that probably could ensure that they spend the night in jail.
Well, that's what we see. Looks like this is where it's heading to. Mr. Dhananjay, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us on that. The Ranas who are currently at the Khar Road police station are trying hard to seek bail at the moment. But for now, they're going to be produced before the court tomorrow. But until then, will they manage to get bail or not? India Today continues to keep the spotlight. Thank you for watching.